Hello friends, in this video I will discuss 125 most important multiple choice question on T.S. Eliot. So let's start our topic 125 MCQs on T.S. Eliot. The first question is, when did T.S. Eliot win the Nobel Prize? So T.S. Eliot won the Nobel Prize in 1948, so that is the correct answer. Which of the household item is not mentioned in Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock? So lamp shades. So they have not been mentioned in the poem. Coffee spoon, tea cups, and pillows, they all have been mentioned. That question is very important for net point of view. When was T.S. Eliot born? So T.S. Eliot was born in 1888. So that is the correct answer. And do you know, in 1888, Matthew Arnold died. So Matthew Arnold's death date is T.S. Eliot born year. So that is the correct answer. And next is, when did T.S. Eliot die? So T.S. Eliot died in 1965. So that is the correct answer. Next is, what is the full name of T.S. Eliot? T.S. Eliot is Thomas Stearns Eliot. So C is the correct answer. Now, Ezra Pound, who called T.S. Eliot old possum. So that is the correct answer. Next question is, at whose request did the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock was first published? So T.S. Eliot, he published this poem at the suggestions of his friend Ezra Pound. So that is the correct answer. Whom did T.S. Eliot call Miglio Fabbro? So T.S. Eliot calls Ezra Pound Miglior Fabbro. And what is the meaning of Miglior Fabbro? It means a better craftsman. So Ezra Pound is the correct answer. Who published a book of light words, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats? So this book was written by T.S. Eliot, and you know Ezra Pound he gave T.S. Eliot a nickname, Old Possum. Next question is 10th question. What is 10th question? Who wrote the poem Mr. Eliot's Sunday Service? So this poem has been written by T.S. Eliot. So that's the correct answer. And which is T.S. Eliot's first collection of poems? So T.S. Eliot's first collection of poems is Prufrock and Other Observation. So that collection was published in 1917. So that is T.S. Eliot's first collection of poems. Who wrote the poem on a Windy Night? So this poem has been written by T.S. Eliot. So that is the correct answer. Next, 13th question is, from where did Eliot borrow the original title for the Wasteland? He do the police in different voices. So he do the police in different voices. That was the original title of the Wasteland. And T.S. Eliot, he took the original title from Charles Dickens, Our Mutual Friend. So that is the correct answer. Next question is, which popular nurse London Bridge is falling down is mentioned? So that is the correct answer. Next, which of these is a phrase from Do I Dare to Eat a Peach? So that is a line from the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Question number 16 is, which religious slave Murder in the Cathedral, which was published in 1935, and that is T.S. Eliot's first poetic play. So that the building is Canterbury Cathedral, because Thomas Becket is murdered here in Canterbury Cathedral. Who cut down the length of the wasteland to 1/3? So it was Ezra Pound who cut down the length of the wasteland to 1/3, and that's the correct answer. Who wrote a collection of 20 essays named Sacred Wood? So a collection of 20 essays named Sacred Wood was written by T.S. Eliot. So that is the correct answer. 19th question is, to whom is T.S. Eliot Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock dedicated? So this poem is dedicated to Ezra Pound. Sorry, this poem is dedicated to Jean Verdenov. That is the correct answer. Jean Verdenov. The Wasteland is dedicated to Ezra Pound. In which verse form is the Wasteland written? The Wasteland is written in verse form, free verse. Free verse, do you know? In which there is no rhyme scheme and there is no limit of limitation of syllables also. Next is in which verse form is the family reunion written? The family reunion is a poetic play by T.S. Eliot and it has been written in prose verse. So that is the correct answer, prose verse. 22nd question is, T.S. Eliot's The Sacred Wood is a collection of 20 essays. So that is the correct answer, essays. That question we have already discussed. On whom did T.S. Eliot not write an article? T.S. Eliot didn't write an article on P.B. Shelley. He wrote an article on Dante, Swinburne, Black, Tino Pellicer, but he didn't write an article on Shelley. Who called himself royalist in politics, classicist in literature, and Roman Catholic in religion? So it was T.S. Eliot who called himself royalist in politics, classicist in literature, and Roman Catholic in religion. 25th question is, when was the Wasteland published? So the Wasteland was published in 1922. So that's the correct answer. When was the essay, The Metaphysical Poets, published? So it was published in 1921. In this essay, The Metaphysical Poets, T.S. Eliot, he praises John Donne and metaphysical poetry. When did T.S. Eliot adopt Anglicanism? So he adopted Anglicanism in 1927. That is the correct answer. Next question. The Family Reunion published. So this play was published in 1939. So that is the correct answer, 1939. When was the poem Hollow Man published? The Hollow Man was published in 1925. So this poem was published in 1925. When was Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock published? So this poem was published in 1915. And later on it appeared in the collection Prufrock and Other Observation. Next question is, when was Murder in the Cathedral published? So it was published in 1935. It is T.S. Eliot's best poetic play. When was Tradition and Individual Talent, a very important essay by T.S. Eliot, published? So it was published in 1919. So that is the correct answer. Which Indian classic influenced T.S. Eliot? So T.S. Eliot was highly influenced by Upanishad. So that is the correct answer. Next question is, T.S. Eliot wrote his PhD. So T.S. Eliot wrote his PhD on F.H. Bradley. Answer. Which poem is dedicated to Ezra Pound? So the Wasteland, this poem is dedicated to Ezra Pound. Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, this poem is dedicated to Jean Verdenov. Which poem is an interior monologue? So the Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock is an interior monologue. Interior means internal, mono means single, lock means speech, means speech of a single character. And the single character talks to oneself in the mind. So J. Alfred Prufrock, he talks to himself in this poem. Next question is, which work is sometimes referred to as Eliot's conversion poem? So Ash Wednesday is the correct answer because it was published in 1927 when T.S. Eliot adopted Anglicanism. Before becoming established as a towering presence in literature, Eliot worked for a bank. So Eliot worked for the bank Lloyd's. So that is the correct answer. Lloyd's is the correct answer. Which poem of Eliot begins with these lines? Because I don't hope to turn again. Because I don't hope. So this poem, Ash Wednesday. So this poem, which was written in 1927, this poem starts with this line. Next is, which poem epigraph, Mr. Kerr's He Dead, has been taken from Joseph Conrad's novel Heart of Darkness? So epigraph, do you know something written on the cover page? So this epigraph, Hollow Man. So this poem has the epigraph, Mr. Kerr's He Dead. So the Hollow Man is the correct answer. Next is, in which poem does T.S. Eliot use the line sweet rum, sweet Thames run softly till I end my song. And this line has been taken from Edmund Spenser's poem and T.S. Eliot, he uses this line in his epic, The Wasteland, which was published in 1922 and which is dedicated to Ezra Pound. Which poem deals with the murder of Agamemnon? So, Sweeney Among the Nightingales, this poem deals with the murder of Agamemnon. Next poem is, which poem was first of all written by T.S. Eliot? So, T.S. Eliot wrote the poem, A Fable for Features. So that is the first poem written by T.S. Eliot, who wrote the collection of poem Ariel Poems. So this collection, Ariel Poems, was written by T.S. Eliot. So that is the correct answer. Who says the poem's existence is but somewhere between the writer and the reader? So it is T.S. Eliot who makes this statement. Next question is, which poem is dedicated to T.S. Eliot's wife? So Ash Wednesday, this religious poem, which was published in 1927, is dedicated to his wife. Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock is dedicated to Jean Wordenol. The Wasteland is dedicated to Ezra Pound. Which poem was written just after T.S. Eliot conversion into Anglicanism in 1927? So it Ash Wednesday, this poem was written. This poem deals with his conversion. Tarsius is the central character in the Wasteland. So in the Wasteland, Tarsius is the central character because in Wasteland, T.S. Eliot uses stream of consciousness technique and the complete poem is narrated through Tarsius' mind. Next question is, which poem starts with the line, April is the cruelest of months? So the Wasteland, which was published in 1922, which is dedicated to Ezra Pound, this poem starts with this line. Which poem deals with Eliot's effort to achieve salvation? So Ash Wednesday, so which is a religious poem, and in this poem T.S. Eliot, he expresses his desire to achieve salvation. Which Shakespearean play is not referred in Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock? So Macbeth, this play is not referred in the poem Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Next question is, which play of Shakespeare has been regarded as one of Shakespeare's most assured artistic success by T.S. Eliot? So T.S. Eliot considers Coriolanus, which is a Roman play, one of Shakespeare's most assured artistic successes. Which play of Shakespeare does T.S. Eliot call the most wonderful of Shakespeare's play? So T.S. Eliot calls Antony and Cleopatra, this play, as the most wonderful of Shakespeare's play. Next question is, in which work does T.S. Eliot call Arnold a propagandist of literature and an overworked school inspector? So he criticizes Matthew Arnold in the essay, The Perfect Critic. Next quotation is, in which essay does T.S. Eliot cite the example of platinum wire? So T.S. Eliot, he gives the example of platinum wire in the essay, Tradition and Individual Talent, in which he compares the poet's mind to a platinum wire. How do the people take the word tradition in the essay, Tradition and Individual Talent? According to T.S. Eliot, the word tradition is taken in the negative sense by the people. So the answer is in the negative sense. In which work does T.S. Eliot call Byron so empty of matter, Shelley so incoherent, incoherent मैंने कहा था disconnected, and Wordsworth so wanting, wanting मैंने था lacking, कि Wordsworth complete नहीं है, उसमें variety नहीं है. So he criticized these romantic poets in the preface to his collection of essays, The Sacred Wood. Next question is, from which Shakespearean play did T.S. Eliot derive the line, those are pearls that were his eyes, used in The Wasteland? So T.S. Eliot has taken this line from the play The Tempest, and it is a speech delivered by Ariel in The Tempest. Ariel isme deliver karta hai. The poem What the Thunder Said, which is the fifth part of The Wasteland. Wasteland is divided into 5 parts: a game of the burial of the dead, a game of chess, the fire sermon, death by water, and What the Thunder Said is the 5th part. So it starts with Jesus Christ crucifixion. So that is the correct answer. Which poem ends with the line Data Daya Dhamam Damyata? So the poem, the Wasteland, ends with this Sanskrit slok Data Daya Dhavam Damyata Shanti Shanti Shanti. तो 3 बार शांति रिपीट होता है इसके अंदर. Next is the line I am neither Prince Hamlet nor meant to be. This poem is in the poem Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. So that is the correct answer. The line like a patient athirst on the table. Again, that line happens in the Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Actually, this line points to evening. Once there was a question in NET exam that what is the meaning of this line like a patient athirst on the table. So the meaning of this line is that it's evening. The line I have measured my life in coffee spoon. Again, this line takes place in Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. That is the correct answer. Next question is, which poem starts with the line let's go then you and I? Again, this line takes place or is in Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. So that is the correct answer. That is the opening line. The lines, this is the way the word ends, not with a band, but with a whisper. So this line takes place in the poem Hollow Man. And through this line, T.S. Eliot says that the words ends very silently. Ekdam parlay aati hai aur puri duniya khatam ho jati hai. How many lines are in the Wasteland? In the Wasteland, there are 434 lines. So that is the correct answer. Next question is, into how many parts is the Wasteland divided? Wasteland is divided into 5 parts. So मैंने अभी आपको बताए थे. The Burial of the Dead, A Game of Chess, The Fire Sermon, Death by Water, and What the Thunder Said. Which one is not a part of the Wasteland? The Game of Mess नहीं है. The Game of Chess है. So that is not a part. In which section does the line, when my lovely woman stoops to folly and paces about her room again, alone she smoothed her hair with automatic hand. So this line takes place in the section, the Fire Sermon. This question was in NET exam. Now, the next is, what is the longest part of the Wasteland? The longest part of the Wasteland is the Fire Sermon, and the shortest is Death by Water. So Fire Sermon is the correct answer. Which is the shortest part of the Wasteland, and that is Death by Water is the shortest. From which book does T.S. Eliot take the myths for the Wasteland? Because in the Wasteland, T.S. Eliot uses many myths, and he has taken myths from 2 books. And one book is Jesse Weston's From Rituals to Romance. You must remember, that's really important. Next question is, from which book does T.S. Eliot take the myths for the Wasteland? And the second book is James Fraser's The Golden Bough. So he has taken myths from these 2 books. In which poem does T.S. Eliot praise John Webster and John Donne? So T.S. Eliot, he praises John Donne and John Webster in the poem Whispers of Immortality. He considers them immortal. Unhe amar manta hai. In which poem does the line in my end is my beginning appear? So this line appears in the poem 4 Quartets. Isme aati hai. Next is, what is the meaning of the Greek word Gerontion? Gerontion is a poem written by T.S. Eliot, and it is a Greek word, and its meaning is an old man. So that is the correct answer, an old man. Which poem does T.S. Eliot want to use as a preface to the Wasteland? So T.S. Eliot, he wanted to use Gerontion. This poem ko use karna chahta tha as a preface to the Wasteland, which is not a part of the 4 Quarters. Naam se pata chala 4 Quartets. So it is a collection of 4 poems. So West Cooker is not a part because it's East Cooker. Baki sab hain Burnt, Norton, Little Gidding, East Cooker, the Dry Solvices. So West Cooker nahi hai. Next is, East Cooker deals with earth because these 4 poems, they deals with 4 different elements. East Cooker deals with earth, Little Gidding deals with fire, and Dry Salvages, it deals with water, and then we have the last one, and that is called Burnt Norton. It deals with air. So this poem deals with these 4 elements. Which play deals with the murder of Thomas Becket? So Murder in the Cathedral, which takes place in Canterbury Cathedral. So it deals with the murder of the Saint Thomas Becket, which was published in 1935. In which play do the lines, and as I get older, I am coming to think how little I have ever known. So these lines appears in the play The Family Reunion, which was published in 1939. Next is, in which play does the line love compels cruelty appear? So this line appears in the play The Family Reunion. Which one is not a character in The Family Reunion? So Jack is not a character of this play. Amy, Agatha, Larry, they all are the characters of The Family Reunion. Which is T.S. Eliot's first poetic drama? So Murder in the Cathedral is the first poetic drama which was published in 1935. Deals with the murder of Thomas Becket. In which of Eliot's play did he actually act as a minor role in the remake as a play? So T.S. Eliot acted in his play Murder in the Cathedral. इसमें उसने खुद भी acting की थी. So that's the really important question. Which play of Eliot is the most carefully worked and the most deeply flawed of all Eliot's plays? The Family Reunion is the next important play of T.S. Eliot after the Murder in the Cathedral. Which play is set in Wishwood? So the Family Reunion, this play is set in an imaginary place, Wishwood. Next question is, how does Harry, who is the central character of the Family Reunion, he murders his wife in the Family Reunion. So he murders his wife by pushing her off the ship. Ship से उसको धक्का मारकर उसका murder करता है. The line, some are born saints, some achieve saintness, and on some saintness is thirst upon. So this line appears in Murder in the Cathedral. So that's a very important line in the play Murder in the Cathedral, which was published in 1935. Who formed the chords in the Murder in the Cathedral? Chords, I think you know, a group of singers that is known as chords, and it was a tradition in Greek drama to use chords. And in this play, illiterate women, जो कैंटरबरी की जो illiterate women है, they become the chords of this play. With whom was Thomas Becket in conflict with? In Murder in the Cathedral, Thomas Becket, who was a saint, he had conflict with Henry II. So that's the correct answer. In which essay did T.S. Eliot coin the term objective correlative? T.S. Eliot, he coined the term objective correlative in his essay Hamlet and his Problems, and he criticized Hamlet. Why? Because in Hamlet there's no objective correlative. What is the meaning of objective correlative? Indirect way of saying things. In which essay does T.S. Eliot define criticism as commentation on a work of art? कि किसी work of art पे comment करना by means of written words, and then to justify it, और फिर अपने comment को justify करना by giving proof. So he makes this comment in his essay, The Function of Criticism. इसमें he defines criticism. So what is criticism? Criticism means to make a comment about a work of art and then to justify it. In which essay did T.S. Eliot coin the term unification of sensibility or dissociation of sensibility? T.S. Eliot, he coined these terms in his essay, The Metaphysical Poets, which was published in 1921. And in this essay, T.S. Eliot, he praises the metaphysical poets, especially John Donne. The line, a thought to Donne was an experience, it modified, it changed its sensibility. So T.S. Eliot made this statement about John Donne in his essay, The Metaphysical Poets. Which term did Eliot coin for Donne's combination of thought and feeling? Because John Donne was a metaphysical poet, and in metaphysical poet we find the combination of thought and feeling, that each and every poem starts with an emotional situation, and then in metaphysical poets he gives example after example to prove his view. That is called combination of thought and feeling. And T.S. Eliot, he used the term unification of sensibility for the combination of thought and feeling. Next 100 question is, which term did T.S. Eliot coin for separation of thought and feeling? So he used the term dissociation of sensibility when there is no combination of thought and feeling. Which essay did T.S. Eliot write as a reply to Middleton Murray's essay Tradition and Romanticism? So when T.S. Eliot Tradition and Individual Talent was published, so Middleton Murray, he criticized tradition and individual talent by writing an essay Tradition and Romanticism. So T.S. Eliot, in order to give reply to tradition and romanticism, isko reply karne ke liye, he wrote the essay The Function of a Criticism, in which he proves Middleton Murray wrong. Which Shakespearean work was praised by T.S. Eliot as Mona Lisa of literature? T.S. Eliot calls Hamlet the Mona Lisa of literature. Next question is, which Shakespearean work was not directly referred in the Wasteland? So the King Lear is not directly referred in the play The Wasteland, because T.S. Eliot, he takes quotation from Hamlet, from Coriolanus, from the Tempest, but he doesn't take direct quotation from the King Lear. Who called The Wasteland as a music of idea? It was Alan Tate. Alan Tate called The Wasteland a music of idea. Which myth does not figure in The Wasteland? So the myth of Sisyphus, it does not take place in The Wasteland. There is a myth of the Holy Grail, there is a myth of Kingfisher, there is a myth of Kingfisher, Oedipus, but there is no myth of Sisyphus. In which essay does T.S. Eliot recommend comparison and analysis as methods of criticism? Like Matthew Arnold, he says that a work of art should be evaluated after making comparison with other works of art. So he makes this statement in his essay, The Function of a Criticism. That is the correct answer. When did T.S. Eliot launch quarterly periodical, The Criterion? T.S. Eliot started a periodical. Periodical means something which is published after a fixed time. So this paper was published after 3 months. It was a quarterly journal. And T.S. Eliot, he started this journal in 1922. When did T.S. Eliot stop publishing quarterly periodical, The Criterion? He stopped publishing this journal in 1939. Now, in which essay does T.S. Eliot praise John Donne? So T.S. Eliot praises John Donne in the essay The Metaphysical Poets. He praises his combination of thought and feeling as unification of sensibility. In which essay does T.S. Eliot criticize Shakespeare's Hamlet by calling an artistic failure? So he criticized William Shakespeare's Hamlet in his essay Hamlet and His Problems, because he doesn't find objective correlative in Hamlet. So he coined the term objective correlative in Hamlet and His Problems. The term historical sense appears in the essay Tradition and Individual Talent. According to T.S. Eliot, tradition means having historical sense. Historical sense का मतलब क्या होता है? ये knowledge that past is not dead, past is still present and it will continue to be present in future also. कि past से कोई नहीं बच सकता ना. जब भी कोई एक आदमी पोइट बनता है तो सबसे पहले वो पास्ट राइटर को पढ़ता है, तभी उसको समझ में आती है ना. तो इस प्रकार क्या है जी, द लिंक बिटवीन द पास्ट, प्रेजेंट एंड फ्यूचर, दैट इज कॉल्ड ट्रेडिशन. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, plain honest criticism and sensitive appreciation is directed not upon the poet but upon the poetry. It appears in the essay Tradition and Individual Talent. Next is, in which essay does T.S. Eliot criticize Wordsworth's personal theory of poetry? So T.S. Eliot, he criticized William Wordsworth's personal theory of poetry in his essay Tradition and Individual Talent. The line, the more perfect the artist, the more completely separate in him will be the man who suffers and the mind which creates. So this quotation appears in Tradition and Individual Talent. Next is, in which essay does T.S. Eliot compare the process of writing poetry to the chemical reaction of producing sulfuric acid? So it takes place in the essay Tradition and Individual Talent. The line, poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. It is not an expression of personality, but an escape from personality. It appears in the essay tradition and individual talent. So that is the correct answer. Which quarterly periodical did T.S. Eliot start? हम discuss कर चुके हैं. The Criterion. It was started in 1922 and T.S. Eliot stopped publishing it in 1939. What is the meaning of the word data? T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland ends with the line Data, Damyata, Daya, Data, Daya, Dhavam, Damyata, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So Data means to give. What is the meaning of the word Daya Dhamam? Daya Dhavam means to sympathize, Saanubhuti karna. What is the meaning of Damyata? Damyata means to control. So that is the meaning of the Damyata. Now, next is in Eliot's love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, who among the following painters is the subject of conversation among the preambulating women? कि कुछ women बातचीत कर रही होती हैं एक पेंटर के बारे में. वो किस पेंटर के बारे में बात कर रही होती हैं? माइकल एंजेलो. So that is the correct answer. Which of the following statement best describe T.S. Eliot assertions that Shakespeare's Hamlet is an artistic failure? Because T.S. Eliot, he doesn't find objective qualitative in Hamlet. So its answer is A. Hamlet's emotion is not adequately objectified because Hamlet doesn't find a source to express his emotion indirectly. So that is the correct answer. The last temptation is the greatest treason, to do the right deed for the wrong reason. ये जो line है ये आती है T.S. Eliot's Murder in the Cathedral. जब थॉमस बैकेट के सामने 4 temptation आती हैं, तो 4th जो temptation होती है वो सबसे ज्यादा alluring होती है. तो why is the temptation treason for the speaker of the line? Because the 4th temptation talks about martyrdom. शहीदी की बात कर रहा है. तो ये क्यों घातक है? Because it is only सेल्फ सर्विंग. क्योंकि जो शहीदी है, अगर आप मन से शहीदी लेते हो तो दैट इज आल्सो नॉट ट्रू एंड नॉट करेक्ट. हैरी इज द सेंट्रल कैरेक्टर इन द प्ले द फैमिली रीयूनियन व्हिच वाज पब्लिश्ड इन 1939. Which play is T.S. Eliot's last completed play? So the Elder Statesman is the last completed play of T.S. Eliot's. So these are 125 very important question on T.S. Eliot's. So I hope that you will learn something new in these 125 question. इन क्वेश्चंस में मैंने सारी चीजों को इतना डीप जाके डिफाइन नहीं किया. अगर आप इन सारी चीजों को डीपली पढ़ना चाहते हो so don't forget to download my app Oxbridge English, and you can download this app from the Play Store. And the link of this app I will give you in the description box. तो description box में जाके आपको ऐप का लिंक मिल जाएगा, जहां पर आपको मेरी ऐप में आपको क्या मिलेंगी? Videos on linguistics, literary terms and the different writers in detail, जहां पर आप इन सारी चीजों को डिटेल से समझ सकते हो, सुन सकते हो. So thanks for watching the video.